Two people at the same time asking me for an engineer.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Look at you. It will take me forever to do what you're doing. Oh my God. I will give up until I make you do it.
It's a very day for me. Like, this is Caitlin. This is Caitlin. No, this is the.
Why? It's not sandwiches for us. Have you done a negotiation with us?
For me too, because I make mistakes, just saying.
So,
Okay, you said it was Casey. What was that saying?
Thank you for the sandwich.
hey,
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, welcome. You make things go smoother.
Give me John's, oh my God,
you never go wrong.
No, this is.
you can never go wrong with Jimmy John's. I'm not kidding,
That is true.
they're so good. I can't stop.
That is the truth.
They're really.
Get that thumb drive with the.
What?
Get the thumb drive.
With the presentation?
Yeah, yeah.
She's using it. Okay.
Scan login.
No, this is.
Why?
972.
Do you need a hotspot to get into your?
You're trying to download it.
Isn't it in your PowerPoint?
Have a good day.
Go to your PowerPoint.
Well, I gotta go. I didn't save it to my desktop, I saved it to my other hand.
Because if you go to your PowerPoint in your computer, it should be saved on there automatically without having to go online.
Is this the right one?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Of course, thank
You've
you.
been great.
I think we got sandwiches.
Well, just.
What was it? Yeah, it's done. Yeah. Am I missed one yet? Yeah, good.
You found it?
I'll have the PowerPoint saved on.
You need to, man. You need to, because that's gonna save you some text.
Are you Tony?
I am.
Did you bring business cards?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man,
Or, yeah, so you did.
You're gonna make it better for us.
Yeah. Thank you. This is another of my inspector here.
Thank you. Aaron, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Baron, get some food before you go anywhere, brother.
Yes, in person. Yes, in person.
Yes.
Sally Christine, nice to meet you. Yeah, me too. Very good to have you about it.
You're always.
Jacob Christine, nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
I'm Holly. Holly Christine, nice to meet you too. You're not gonna partake in this stress.
Stress. I'm like, Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris. Did you carry that? Around, check out that whole dress.
Very
Okay, good morning or good afternoon. There was like, so we have Tony. Okay, we have Tony from DPG and Aaron from BPG. He's my inspector. He's really awesome. He's come here to teach us how to keep a deal from falling apart. So yeah, several people here use him. Patricia uses him, Byron uses him. So yeah, let's welcome him and enjoy the class.
Here, it's gonna be a fun class, interactive, questions, ask them, no worries, stories, I'd love to hear them. Whatever you got in your mind, this is the time, and Aaron will answer all your questions. Okay, so let's begin. How many of you guys have your transactions falling through because of the home inspection findings? Raise your hand. Let me see some hands. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so today we're gonna look at the whole deal from beginning to end, from the seller's perspective, from the buyer's perspective, or from the agent's perspective, and of course, from the inspector's perspective, okay? So these are the objectives. Let me see if I can use this.
Touch screen.
Have to roll this, all of this.
You just hit the enter button.
To the enter button. There you go. Okay, so we're gonna learn how to manage expectation. That means if we have all the motions from everybody on an even keel, not high, no down, just right in the middle, more likely that transaction is gonna succeed without that much effort. Okay? Again, for that, we need to prepare the house for inspection, which with that said, that means we need to prepare our seller, our buyer, ourselves sometimes. And of course, the transaction is gonna go by. Now we're gonna also learn about how to pick the right inspection company, okay? And of course, we have the reputation of being the deal killers, right? So the inspectors are gonna book the inspection and we go there and we feel like we're walking, like, here he comes, you know, like the voucher, here he comes. This, oh my gosh, I hope what's gonna happen. And you know what, the inspection process should be a discovery period. So it should be fun for the buyer to discover. They only saw the house for 20 minutes. Then they put a contract, they go home and they don't even remember how many bedrooms the house had. It would be a good time for them to find out what they're buying, what they're getting into, right? So we're gonna learn about all of that. So a question for anyone, what is the stress that a seller goes through when they find out that the house just went under contract? Let me hear you out.
What's next?
What's next? That's a big question. Yes,
Often do.
option periods, right? So a bunch of repairs, absolutely, but it even goes deeper than that. It became real, right? Now, it was nice fun and games, signing contracts and staging this, painting that, and all of a sudden, boom, there is a contract and now it's go time. So because it's go time, you know, we want to have this, the stress is going to be high in both sides because it's also go time for the buyer's agent, right? And for the buyer itself. And of course, right now we're going through this 3-option period here, which is really hard for a lot of reasons, right? So the sellers are excited. They go like, oh my goodness, we got a contract. We got 10,000 over asking price. Patricia's fantastic. And all of a sudden, oh, my presentation back. Okay. And all of a sudden it became real. Now they have to pack and move. So what 5-bedroom house. Now what we're going to do with all this furniture, and this is closing in 15, 20 days. So now we have to go. What about the kids? They have kids that they go to school, right? So now they need to figure out even where to live. A lot of people, they just put it on the market to see if it hits and they sold it. And now they have to find a new house. It's a lot of stress in all these process. They have to start looking for a house, and then, of course, now the companies are making that appointment to go and inspect the house. And that just brings all the emotions on those sellers way up through the roof. Okay? One thing that I like to stress a lot, we need to brief our sellers and our buyers of what is the inspection for and the inspection process. It's important that they know accessible areas. It's important that they know that that we are not there to send anybody back to the apartment. We're there to just to tell the story of the house. And of course, how we tell the story, that's what makes the difference between the emotional turmoil of being up or down, is how you express your thoughts. That counts on the inspection side. But remember, we're there for the 5 major components of the house. The roof, electrical, plumbing, air conditioning, foundation, structural. That's what we're really there for. Cracks on the walls and all that for us, unless it's a structural issue, it's merely cosmetic. So we want to tell the story the right way, but we need our findings. What about the buyer? What is the stress that the buyer goes through? They put a contract on a house, now it's go time. Tell me, what's the stress? Anyone?
They've had problems, bigger problems.
Bigger problems with the house? Yeah, you know what I got into? Yes,
Repairs.
repairs, right? Are they getting a good deal of the house? Right? Am I getting a good deal for this house? Am I gonna recover my money? Is that inspector's realm of a job? No, we don't deal with value. I've been asked that question hundreds of times. Hey, now you tell me the truth. Is this a good deal that I'm getting for? The house is $328,050. I'm just like, I'm not there. I'm not here for that. The expert in the numbers is your agent. Let's ask that question to her or him. And then I will answer any question you have about the house, but not the value. That's not in our responsibilities, in our job description, right?
I only got one of these. I brought one of these, but it's a little quick thing that we pass out. It's for home buyers checklist and home sellers checklist. I apologize for not bringing more, but if you want to pass around, can you
I
get
got some in the truck.
okay? Kind of pass that one kind of.
I'll bring them back and I'll put them somewhere that you guys can find it. But anyway, is the house going to fall apart? You know, what about if it's a flip? Right? Any hidden secrets on the house? What am I not looking at? What is that I cannot see? And that's what inspection is important for. And again, we go back to the reputation portion of it, right? Inspection report is going to create all kinds of trouble. Safety items, that's what we're there for, super important, right? Super important, the smoke alarms, GFCI protection, structural issues, electrical issues. Sometimes it's not the same to have a couple of rotted boards on the siding and having to replace the whole siding. It's a big difference in monies, right? So we need to differentiate what's money value on repair or replacement of things. It's important that we look into that. Termites. A lot of people ask for termite inspections. They're always afraid of termites. That's fine. That's normal. You know, that's one stress them out. Mold, lead paint, radon gas. Radon is really very little in North Texas. It's a gas that comes out from the soil. And if we find any radon, it is a way to put a vent that vents out the gas out, and it's not harmful once that you find it. But that happens a lot, like in the Midwest, like St. Louis and all those areas. Right now, for us in Dallas, very seldom we have a house who has some issues with radon. But it happens. It's not that we don't see it, you know. Sewer backups. Now, can the inspector look at the sewer? Yes, they can. They can see the sewer, inspectors. We can test it. We do the best we can to determine if it's any problems on the sewer line. However, you have to remember that sewer line is over 100 feet long in 2 hours or so. we're not gonna be able to see if the sewer is going to back up. Later on, it takes 3 months sometimes, or sometimes even 4 months for the sewer to back up. That's why now a lot of us are offering the sewer camera inspections as an ancillary service, is to mitigate those kind of problems. So, plumbing leaks, you know, one thing is that you have a plumbing leak under a sink. Another thing is that you have a plumbing leak under the slab. It's two different things, right? And, you know, from time to time, since COVID, we've been going through a lot of problems that the seller is not leaving the property and the buyer comes into the property. For the most part, they get along, but sometimes they don't like each other and everything goes crazy unless it's a referee in the middle. So emotionally, we have to deal with that. When we see them that they're together, I put them on the side and I said, hey, don't say anything. Please stay away from things. Just stay with me, get on my back, and let's just walk the house together. We have to create the least amount of interaction between the parties, or things could happen. And remember, this is about to have the emotions right where they should be, right? So let's have the sellers get the house ready for inspection. So I think it's important. Electrical panels, interior of the panel and exterior. In other words, we're gonna remove the face cover of that electrical panel. So a lot of the times the seller, they make sure that we can open the door, but they don't allow us to take the face cover off because they have it blocked with shelving or some other things. So it's important that we know we're gonna remove that part, okay? Pads to air conditioning, especially the furnace, a lot of the times is on the attic, and we have the Christmas tree, Christmas ornaments, baby stuff, and it's stuff that you don't even want to know that we find on the attic. So it's important that we have a clear path to that. One time I found this doll on a chair, sitting on a corner on the attic. Somebody put it in there, and when I turn on the light, I feel something behind. I turn around, and it was like a girl in there. I screamed like a little girl, and then the buyer is, "Are you okay?" She thought I fell or something. I'm like, okay. So anyway, so you just never know. I was horrible. So you never know what you're gonna find over there. I found possums. I have found squirrels, snakes. So my goodness, the more we can see, the better, right? Especially because on the attic is also the framing members, right? So I want to look at the framing members, and if I have to worry about the possum, well, that's not fun, right? GFCI outlets. Remember the test and reset button outlets that we have on the bathrooms and the kitchens? In older houses, we have one in the garage. Well, a lot of people connect their freezers to that outlet. And when we're walking the exterior and we test an outlet, more likely it's going to trip that specific GFCI. And if it's blocked and I cannot find it, see it or reset it, and they have all this meat in that freezer, it may spoil. So it's important that we can have access to the garage GFCI, and everybody forgets about that little guy, everybody. So that's an important thing to look for. And of course, clutter under the sinks but that's just, again, remember, somebody's moving out of house. So under the sinks is going to be drain bottles, Dawn bottles, baby wipes, all kinds of things, right? Now they have to pack them, and we go in between the time that they're packing and that they're coming. So we're right in the middle of the times. So it's not a bad idea, so we can actually see the drainage system, but if not, we have to find a way. And light bulbs, as simple as it sounds, how do you know that this light bulb is burned out, or if it's the fixture? You won't know unless they replace the light bulb. So if you're listing the house, these are all good points to tell your seller the reason. You could think inspector can do it, or you can say we worry about that after we get the amendments. But in all reality, it's creating a stress on the seller, because if we don't have access to the electrical panel, we're gonna call the buyer's agent, tell her, hey, or him, hey, I cannot inspect the electrical panel. Then you're gonna get angry. Call the seller agent, which in turn is also going to get angry, which is gonna talk to the seller. So it's a succession of emotional peaks way high up there. We have to avoid that, right? So it's better to be proactive than reactive, yes? Okay, so it's a vacant home, utilities. You show that you look at that house, you put your contract, the next day here comes the water service and they close it, or the gas service. It's a big thing because now we have to avoid to do problem with emotions, right? We need to keep it again, level as possible, but that's gonna create an emotional upset. Okay, so those inspectors light the water heater? No. Do they lit the furnace? No, they don't. They don't lit pilots. The reason why, we don't know if the unit is working or if it's not. So if he tries to lit the furnace and the furnace was off because it was faulty, he can get injured. So that's why they don't lit pilots. It's not that they don't want to, it's a safety thing. So make sure that everything is ready and working properly. So when we go do the inspection, we can actually inspect the whole house the way it should be, right? Okay, so let's have some fun with this. Pets. Everybody's dog is the best boy. My dog is the best dog, you know. Here comes Aaron and he gets chewed up. So we have 2 years ago an inspector that got mauled by a pit bull. And he's completely out of business. He could not inspect ever again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was in the hospital for over 6 months. He got really chewed up. So it is a real thing. I have dogs that they are as sweet as pie when they're around me, and when they hear the clacking on my ladder or my flashlight light, or maybe I make a sudden move that he just didn't like, take charge without warning. So I tell all my inspectors, do we love pets? Yes, we do. Are they all friendly? No, they're not. So if it's a pet on the backyard, the inspector is not going to go to the backyard. If it's a pet in an office, the office won't inspect because he's not gonna take the chance to get bitten by the dog. So again, if it's a dog in the premises, what that is going to create on the transaction? Here we go, back up on the emotional turmoil. We have to make the call. And it's a succession of events, right? So, but again, I love dogs, don't get me wrong. Oh, prepare the house for inspection. Let's try to make things run smoothly. So here we go. So what can we see right here? What's in there? It's an attic. Bingo. So here comes Aaron. He's going to inspect this house and he gets to the attic portion. So Aaron is going to take his hands and remove all these clothes and put them on the bed so he can put his ladder. Good idea or bad idea? Bad idea. And why is it a bad idea? His dirty hands on the, not that you have dirty hands, but on the clothing, right? Okay. What about if these clothes are not there, but these are there? Could he take all these clothes and put them on the bed as well? No. What about if he gets creative and can go above this without touching it, put his ladder right here so he can open the attic hatch? Is a good idea or a bad idea? Bad idea. What is going to come out of that attic? Dust, insulation. And that's on a good day. What else? You'll be surprised what falls. I used to have hair. Now you see, that's what happens with the attic, right? What about here? What do we have here?
Breaker box.
Yeah. So can he remove the face cover from that? Not the chance, you know, even if he tries to drag that thing, it's going to be, he could destroy something, scratch something, right? Okay, what about this? Can he see all the surfaces? So you show the house, it smells like vanilla, everything is just available, everything is hung in the classes, cookies right there for whoever wants to take one. And then the day of inspection, they're packing. So they have to move, right? Because remember what on that portion. So it's really not entirely their fault, but if they were notified, maybe they won't have this. What about this? That's a mess. Yeah, And these are the actual inspection photos, okay? So in here, we cannot look at, for example, we're gonna have a hard time seeing the condition of the flooring, the walls, the outlets. We test all outlets in the house. Or as many as we can. We won't be able to get to them, right? What about the windows? And again, if we make the call, we're gonna create the emotional peak, right? Okay, what about this? That's a good one, huh? What do we have here? Yeah, and here, like right here, literally. What is that? It's a car. A car. So let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. This is the garage. I have a car in here and I have all this beautiful thing in here. What's in the garage for the most part that needs to be inspected?
Sprinkler
systems.
Yeah.
Sometimes hot water.
Heater,
Switch, electric lines.
that's right. The electrical main panel. What about the sprinkler system? What about the attic? What about the attic access? But most importantly, what I tell you that we always forget. The little GFCI outlet, remember? No, won't find it. You know? So that's gonna be a catastrophe when we make that phone call. Right? That's not gonna be it's not gonna be good times in there. Not a bad idea to have on an email form accessible areas, just to send it to your selling agent. Not a bad idea, 2 days before inspection, a little text. Hey, remember we have an inspection at 3 o'clock. Do you mind to make sure to let them know to have utilities on, to have accessible areas, blah, 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 available so the inspector on calls. 1 minute of your time will create those emotions to stay flat, which is the goal, to keep it flat, right? Few of the questions that they have, right? What are they hiding? And again, they knew we were coming, couldn't they have at least clean up a bit? Remember, when they look at the house, it was nice and clean, and now they find all this. Well, let me ask you something. What the seller should do with all their stuff then? Give me an idea. What are they going to do with all these boxes? Where are they gonna put them? Where are they gonna put them at? In the garage? How should they arrange it in the garage?
In the middle.
In boxes? Okay. Or remember, we have all these accessible things that we need access to. So it's not just that simple, right? We have access to the attic and to the electrical panel and to the water heater and the GFCI and some other things on that garage. It's just not to put boxes for the sake of putting boxes in there, because then we're gonna go back to square one. Right? So this is the golden rule. 36 inches radius from the appliance. 36 inches to the front of the electrical panel and to the sides. Pull the attic ladder down, or make sure that we have enough room to put our ladder to access the attic if we need to. Yes. 36 inches in front or to the size of the water heater, right? With the sprinkler system, and then they can make a pad through the garage so they can walk freely, but leaving those areas within 36 inches radius, so we can actually do our thing. In some inspectors, and I do that, we move a stuff if we need to, as long as it's nothing that is very critically sensitive, for example, porcelain or glass or baby stuff, because things happen. You know, you don't know when you open that attic ladder, something is gonna come crashing down and falling on top of something. So we have to be really careful what we move, but some things we can. So 36 inches radius, all the way around each of the appliances that we need access to, right? And that's gonna take all of us out of trouble. Now, who saw the movie, The Money Pit? You remember that movie? Well, that's exactly what the buyer is feeling. It's like, okay, I'm gonna move in and doors are gonna fall, you know, all kinds of good things. Let's go into the inspection. Who goes to the inspection? Raise your hand. Who goes to the inspection? Okay, and then some of you know to go to the inspection. Okay. For the ones that go to the inspection, when do you arrive to the inspection? In the beginning, at the end, in the middle? Towards the end? about at the very end? Or like an hour or two after?
Half hour.
Well, whatever the inspector tells us to.
They call you.
That's a good one.
That's,
Well, it's usually, they usually tell you, we'll be ready to deliver it about like at noon or 3 o'clock, and so you show up whenever.
Personally, I like an hour and a half. No matter how big or how little the house is,
An hour and a half to do what? I mean.
from when I start. So let's just say that I have an appointment with you at noon. So you're gonna ask me what time you want my client to be there, I'm gonna tell you 1:30. And that sounds very arbitrary to you. You're like, 1:30 is a 5,000 square foot town home, and I'm gonna tell you, yeah, 1:30. Because the buyer only saw the house for 20 minutes. This is a discovery time. They want to make sure, they want to look, they want to pick the room, they want to get excited. So if we have them there for 10 more minutes at the end of the inspection, and I just tell him all my findings and they go home, they really didn't took advantage of our time. That's fair for the buyer, yes? Yes, sir.
How many times do you have just the buyer show up? While you're inspecting?
And no.
Just the buyer and not the agent.
Just the buyer, not the agent. You ever have just the buyer there
All the time. All the time,
without their agent?
without the agent,
Guys, do not let that happen.
all the time.
Their
why is that?
liability. The buyers, it's not just the buyers, it's the buyers and their 7 kids. They get in the way of his inspection. They start playing with the seller's kids' toys, lose the listing. That's happened. Now, contract allows it. Paragraph 7A allows it. Very bad idea. Make sure if your buyer's there, you're.
I have to agree with him 100%. I'm gonna tell you, that's a problem, because I'm Hispanic, as you can tell. And it's not just the buyer, it's the grandma, and the grandpa, and the aunts, and the uncles, and the taco maker. I mean, it's everybody there. Everybody there, right? So I have 20 people walking, and I'm finishing the inspection, but I'm always afraid that little Carlos is playing with the oven, you know, and I'm just like, oh my God. So he has a good point in there. He has a really good point. Another thing is, if I am going to tell you what I found and you can see it with me, it's no misunderstandings. It is what it is. I showed it to you, right? So yeah, I agree with him. A good inspector should get to the house about 20 minutes prior to inspection time. And the reason why is this, and I tell all my guys, we're gonna look at the street. For example, if the asphalt on the street where we're driving is full of repairs and potholes, for me, that means that I can have potential foundation movement. It's a lot of movement on the soil. As I'm driving, I'm looking at everybody's roof, believe it or not. Why? If it's different colors and different types of roofing, we have a hailstorms at some point in the past. So I want to now, although it was imperative, now it's even more imperative that I pay attention to that. Once that I park my truck, got all my tools, I'm ready to roll. I'm looking at the houses on the neighbors and see if they have any repairs on their brick or their siding. And if they do, again, we have foundation move. Yes. And then sometimes I like to be there a little bit early so I can check on that water meter, make sure that all utilities are on and don't waste anybody's time. Because for me, you guys have to be out in the street selling houses, so we all have a job. So everybody, you know, we all feed each other, yes? So I don't want to waste your time. I will call and tell you, I don't have water, I don't have gas, I don't have electrical. Should we postpone? Should we continue? And then just come back later? You give me the answer, both. That little extra 20 minutes are gold for us, right? The first hour, we're gonna spend it looking at the exterior. Roofing is on the exterior, big item. Foundation behavior on the siding, big item. Electrical panel and the condenser unit are outside, big items, right? So think about it. Then we go into the garage and we look at the water heater, the other panel, and the attic. Now we hit the 5 major components right off the bat. So the first hour is critical for us because we're looking at things that they matter a lot. Half an hour later, we already are doing the interior. We already have the dishwasher going. Now here comes the client with a billion questions. Can you lend me this? What do you think of that? Now I have the answers for one. And number two, now I can post-inspection if I need to keep those emotions down. But if he gets right there right off the bat, with all these questions, his emotions are all over the place and I don't have any answers. So that's what I said, an hour and a half after the inspection is fantastic. That gives them about another 30 minutes to an hour to check it out, to look around the house, to see whose room is going to be what are they gonna do with the carpeting and all these other things, okay? Okie dokie. Are they perfect homes? What about new construction? Come on. No, no perfect homes. Not even my house. And I supervise mine from the get-go. And I'm still finding stuff. Go figure, right? Well, we're just gonna have to focus on the 5 major things and make sure that those are good, because everything else we can deal with, right? Okay, set expectations. When you read the report, could be overwhelming. Texas makes very harsh report to read. It's a lot of information and it's all bunched up and people don't know where to start. So if I start using code, IRC number, blah, 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 says that within 1 inch, they're not gonna know what I'm talking about. It's better just to tell them, hey, your spindles in your stairs are a little bit spread too wide. Be careful with your children. Better way to explain it, right? So yeah, the report could be alarming. Again, I like the buyer to be there because I can brief them in whatever I saw, show them, educate them. Inspectors. Okay, so we are on the business of people or customer service people. That's what we got into this business as inspectors, to help people, right? We're on the customer service people. So when I give you a sentence that says, low tip cracks on the master bathroom, repair, is that telling you anything? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, you can see the cracks, you don't need me to, but if I give you the location, the problem, and the method of repair for explanation of why things happen, now I'm educating you. So as a consumer, don't you feel better when an inspector educates the client rather than just give them a report? So when you pick your inspection company, interview your inspector, nothing wrong with that. Asking for a sample report, nothing wrong with that. Do your due diligence, because in the end, it's your business and our business, right? So it's important. We don't have any problems with anybody attending inspector. I don't have one a few weeks ago where it was seller agent, buyer's agent, buyers, seller, children, and they were all following him with glasses of wine.
And the buyer, all family, all parties, all agents, it was 2.5 hours following around the entire, this was out in the 10-acre lot too, so they also had outhouses, so all these people going to the
Septic tanks.
So it's like.
He texted me overwhelmed and he was like, I got a text, SOS 911. I'm just like. So, but it happens, see, and if you put another 20 inspector, they're gonna give you similar stories, right? Because it does happen.
But on that too, it was good too, because they both saw what I saw. So it limited that emotions again. So what they saw, basically, I did the report kind of there with them as well. So both parties saw what I saw. That way kind of really confusion was going on. So it was good, but it was stressful, especially when your boss is like, go get him, Tiger. I'm like,
Right, fine. I quit calling you Tiger. All right. So let's just say that we have a client that is in Kansas City, Missouri, first-time home buyer, and he gets my report and bam, he's hit with this beautiful picture. What is this? It's 2 wires going into the same breaker. That's called double tapping. The wiring is designed to go only in 1 breaker at a time. The thickness of the wire is going to correspond to the amps of the breaker, right? When you put 2 wires in a breaker, now you have a potential fire hazard. because these two can arc and burn the breaker itself and set the electrical box on fire. So you have this first-time home buyer somewhere, no one talked to him at all. What is he gonna be thinking? My gosh, is this house gonna burn up, right? Is this an expensive repair? Not really. Not really. It's just to buy another breaker and put it on a different location on the electrical box, or even put a little soft panel next to it. If it's just the removal of the breaker, a couple of $100. If it's a little soft panel, maybe $400 or so. And it creates really no waves in your transaction. It's not real big money, right? Or on their imagination. That's what they're thinking. That's exactly what they're thinking. Oh my gosh. They're powering this panel with an extension to begin with. So just imagine. So what about when you have, you submit your amendment and then you get the sentence telling you, yeah, we replaced the electrical panel, but it's not by an electrician. It was done by a contractor or a friend, maybe a cousin of the owner. Would you accept that?
No.
No,
Unless they're a licensed professional.
unless they're a licensed professional, right? Okay. What we have to be careful with is to let the imagination go crazy. We have to, again, if we let the imagination go, those emotions are gonna go way up there. Because you have to remember, we're hitting them with this, plus lack of GFCIs, maybe smoke alarms missing, maybe a couple of open ground outlets somewhere around that. Ongoing joy is probably about $600 to repair, which is not big money, but in their imagination says the electrical system is faulty. That's it. The house is gonna burn. I don't want this house. I don't want this house. So we need to bring those emotions lower. We need to keep them where we want them, right? So when you interview your inspector, can you have meetings on Zoom? Can you have a three-way conversation? Can we make an appointment so you can go through the report with you to bring those emotions down, explain, educate the buyer? If the answer is no, I can do that because I'm too busy, or you have my report, I'm sticking to it, that's it, I don't want to know. Then you need to move on to a better inspection company. If the inspector, again, our job is to educate and protect the consumer, we need to have the time to take care of that buyer at any given time. Okay? Again, do your due diligence. After the inspection, have a meeting with it. I tell my guys, hey, call the agent, tell them what you found from the property even. If it's a clean house, just let them know, hey, it was not really big issues. Everything is pretty much cosmetic. If it's a big thing, hail on the roof, but foundation problems. And see, you have to think like this. When the inspectors go to school, when I put the fear of God that they're gonna get sued if they miss a little crack over that door frame. So you have some inspectors that they turn out to you 70-page report because they want to make sure that it's not that they're ultra through, it's simply they don't want the liability of a legal problem because they are a one-man show, they probably bought a franchise. It's different models of business within the inspector community, different types of programs that we report on within the inspector community. None of them are wrong, none of them are right. It's just different models, right? However, the person matters, okay? So interview them. We're not there to send anybody to the apartment. We are gonna tell you exactly the condition of the property. We don't have any emotional attachment to the property. The property is gonna give us the story, and we just gonna report the story of the property within reason. I'm not gonna put 70 pictures of flow-tech cracks. So many flow-tech cracks you can see in a picture. You two, maybe three. That's it. That's it. The pictures are for representation only. TREC does not care if we put pictures or not on the report. They only care about the template that has to be used. That's it. You can put squares, you can put circles, you can put arrows, you can put whatever you want on that report. They don't care. They just want you to use that template. And if it's a problem with liability, meaning that the inspector gets reported, they just want to make sure that he reported what is supposed to be reported, nothing else. Okay? Again, like I was telling you, what we're supposed to be educators, we don't supposed to just tell you, hey, this door is faulty, rubbing at the frame, and don't give you an explanation. We need to educate the public. That's what we've been hired. We have to always, a good inspector should always have those emotions within check in all parties, including our own. Hey, you guys don't know if I'm having problems at home, if I twisted my ankle, if I'm just too hot. I need to keep my own emotions in check when I'm doing that inspection, because my demeanor is going to matter to the buyer. And that alone can create fluctuation of emotions. What is he nervous about? What is he not telling me? So we need to keep our cool, right? Now, sometimes we get a client that is extremely nervous. Well, it's ways that you talk to them to make them loosen up a little bit, to relax. You know, it's very simple stuff. It's just being a human, right? Hey, so what's going on with you? How are you today? Beautiful house. How is it that you came to this house? Who picked it? Your real estate agent or you found it on Zillow? You know, so believe it or not. We're not there to kill the deal. Well, that's not our job. We're not contract assassins. No, we're there to help. At least a good inspector should be there always to help, right? Sometimes they get there all excited, but by the time Aaron starts to give them more the findings, they go and hide on that attic. It looks so pretty. Well, few pointers of the transaction, right? On the inspection, let's have the client showed up. We get a lot. I am going to knock down this wall. What do you think about that? I don't think that's a good idea. Unless you're going to carry it yourself. It's not a good idea. It's a low-bearing wall, right? And everybody, but you also have to let them be, because that's a part of what they're doing, right? They're buying the house for a reason, to make them their own. So you try to mentor them the best you can. And out of my mouth, I will always tell them, if you're going to be knocking down that wall, you better get some approval from an engineer or someone who knows what you're going to do. Because no, you don't look like the engineer. Used to be Holmes was an inspector that was based in Canada. And in Canada, inspectors can repair. So I can have my own construction repair contracting company, and I can be the inspector. Now, TREC does not allow us to do that for one year. For 1 year, we cannot do that. So, which in turn creates a lot of, and that's for liability things, because otherwise I will be giving myself a lot of work, right? So they don't allow us to do that. The inspection report is about everything I can see. If I cannot see it, I cannot report it. The funny part is things that I should see that are not there, I also have to report, right? For example, let's just say that I go into a house that it doesn't have any smoke alarms, just as simple as that. They should be there, so I have to report what I can't see. I cannot see the smoke alarms because they're not there. They have to be reported, right? But I also have to report what I can see. Look, we have an outlet that is burned. We have to report it because I saw it. Then we go to a problem like the drainage system. I test as much as I could of the drainage system, but I can't see it. So I report the performance at the time of inspection. But again, if you need a sewer camera, then you can schedule that as well. That's the only way you're gonna know. Let me ask you, new construction should we look at the drainage with a camera?
Yes.
Okay. What about 1952 home?
Yeah, some pipes are probably slipping.
Not all. newspaper, right? What about a 10-year-old house with a big tree in the front yard, right in the path of the cleaner?
Oh, I got really excited.
Yes. You know, plumbers were the only ones who could scope the lines. That was by the plumbing code, that they were the only authority who could do it. And then they became so overwhelmed that they allow inspectors to do that. And that's why you see a lot of inspection companies having that service. But for everything that an inspector does, irrigation, pools, septics, sewer camera scope inspections, drones, anything that we do extra, the inspector had to take classes for and get certified on that specific subject, okay? If a problem happens, Trek is gonna say, well, Aaron, did you take classes on swimming pools? No, I just have one in my house and I just decided to inspect them too. Now he's in trouble, right? So that's why some inspectors offer some ancillary services and some other ones don't, because they haven't taken the class. Okay, but everything else. The inspection is not invasive, meaning we are not going to be breaking walls. I have a gentleman says, will you make a hole on the stucco wall? Because I want to know what kind of a stucco is it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take a hammer and make a hole on the stucco to tell you it's a 3-layer stucco. I can tell you that it's a 3-layer stucco when I go into the attic or some other areas, but I will not damage the property. So for example, you have an electrical panel that is cocked all the way around. Should the inspector cut it? A lot of us do, but we cannot cut it back. So you may have now a gap in between the wall and the electrical panel, right? So that could be considered property damage.
I've got to go, but I like what you're saying. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but they know what it means.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. So, important to know those little things. Again, when you are telling your listing agent, hey, I need accessible to these areas, that means make sure that the inspector can take it out, you know, because sometimes they put screws that they're for machinists and we don't even have those tips to be able to remove anything. So, you know, just some due diligence in there. Which of you read the entire inspection report once that you get it? Raise your hand. Hold on. All right.
I read the summary.
You don't trust your inspector?
I do, but I need to
Wise words of wisdom, you don't?
know what's wrong or what's good.
Read the report. Read the report. I'm not telling you what to do, but you should read the report. Because we're gonna tell you the big things, but a lot of the smaller things matter as well. We don't know the numbers. So maybe you have a lot of way to play with negotiation numbers. Maybe you don't have any. We don't know that. Or read the report. We want any problems after closing? Nobody wants the phone call. Now, let's just go through everything we need to go through before closing. So then that way we can take care of it before we transfer keys. Good example is the roof. Let's just say that you didn't read the report and the inspector, for whatever reason, he didn't tell you much about hail damage on that roof. You close. They go to Allstate for whatever reason decided for that specific day and time to send an adjuster, and the adjuster goes up there and says, oh, we're not insuring this until it's replaced. Now, whose tab is that on? The new buyer. And then what's going to happen? Hello. So read the report, please. Please, I cannot stress it enough. Also call your inspector, discuss with him. No matter how little or how big is it, the problem, discuss with him. Okay? We're there to identify issues. When we find a deficiency, it's something that it's failing within a system. Okay? For example, a corner crack on a foundation, that is not structural. It's just a separation of the concrete and the toe action of the brick or the siding hitting that foundation, and that little corner decides to detach. That is not a structural issue, therefore it's not a deficiency. Should it be in the report? Yeah, it should be. Let them know, hey, this is not a deficiency yet. It exists. I saw it. It's not like I was just looking at my phone. I did my job. I look at it. but it's not the end of the world. It's not, okay? So we need to be careful with that. Now, when you own a house, you guys know it's the never-ending story. You're always fixing something, adding something, repair, replacing something, improving something. So not because we saw the house in one condition one day, a month later, might be a different condition, might be different condition. Okay. When you have again, we go back to the different types of inspection software. Some of them are like books, some of them are interactive, some of them are very straight up to the point, depending on the maker. So on this case, we're just gonna play this format is from an inspection report in Missouri. It's not even a Texas report. But let's just go back. How would we prepare an amendment out of this inspection report that we've seen here? So you can see red is action items, meaning there are things that have to be repaired fairly fast because it's an issue. The blue stuff, that's all just handyman general contracting kind of stuff. For the most part, the buyer is going to inherit everything that is in blue because it's just maintenance things over time, and you cannot ask the seller for everything in the book, right? So we're going to focus on these 5. So you can see 6 items in there. So you get this inspection report and you read the 6 comments. And then with a yellow marker, you are going to go into a process of elimination because you're probably going to ask only for 3 major things, okay? So in the process of elimination, you decided that those 5 are more important. You talk to your buyer and said, look, this exposed Romex wiring, the steel balls. When you get the house, make sure that you put a piece of drywall on top of it. It's going to cost you a few dollars. It's not that expensive. I don't think that should be on the amendment. So that's why you took this off the chart. It's not imperative. Important because you want that covered up, but not imperative. Yes? For your money, for your transaction. Okay? Then we're going to go into those what's in yellow. You're going to put a red line under them, and you're going to eliminate another one of them. So this time, we took the bathroom sink that was draining slow. Well, you guys went back to the house, you talked to the seller, whatever the reason, you guys realized that it's just hair. Toothpaste, stuff that is on that P-trap. Let's not make a big deal out of it. We can do without. Or maybe your buyer was a plumber. I always ask. So what do? Oh, I'm an engineering, whatever. And do you have any family members that are in construction? Oh yeah, my brother is an electrician. Fantastic. Now I know within me that the electrical issues, big or small, are gonna be done by this individual. So I don't have the fear of explaining to him anything about electrical because he's trusting on his relative. So that takes a little bit of pressure from you, okay? So anyway, going back to the plumbing, this guy had a brother that is a plumber. Yeah, my brother can take care of that. Oh, fantastic. So now we have 4 left. And then at the very end, the most important ones, we circle, and now we have the 3 stuff that we are going to negotiate on your amendment. This is just a quick sample of process of elimination. I think it should be first, whatever pertains to the roof and foundation, because those are on the thousands quick. Then if it's a swimming pool on the property, that's another one that can be very expensive. So swimming pools have to be on that category. So when I take my findings to my client, I said, let's divide this in 3 major blocks. First block, roof foundation, air conditioning, and the swimming pool. Second block, plumbing and electrical. It's expensive, but not crazy expensive, like a roof, right? And then at the end, it's all the handyman general contract. So then I tell them my findings of in order of importance that way. That helps also the client to understand the magnitude that we're speaking on. Okay. So again, when you interview your inspector, make sure, how do you give your findings. Did you show them on the computer? Did you show them on their phone? Did you just talk to them? How do you talk to them? Ask the questions, okay? So this is just an example. Hope it helps as you do your amendment. And for the most part, all inspectors have a summary page. Some on the front, some on the back, some better done than others, but we always give us a summary page. Now, and this is the explanation that I was just telling you. Inspectors require 32 hours of education every 2 years. And sometimes you cannot repeat the education that you took the previous 2 years. So if I took a class, for example, on septic systems on my past licensing CEs, I cannot take it again. For the next cycle, I can take it away for the third cycle. So we don't repeat. So inspectors really put a lot of work in their education, and technology changes a lot, and products changes every day. I look like a crazy person in Home Depot because I'm looking at things that can alert me of new products. Let me give you an example. Now they're making a dryer vent that has 3 filters that can be connected in the garage. Is that approved? It's not, because it doesn't have a UL and the patent is pending. So it's not approved yet. But you're gonna see those in condos. You're gonna see those in townhouses or in locations where you have the dryer, the typical house where everything is in the middle of the house. The inspector better know his thing. And that's one thing that we do. We go and we now they make outlets that they are artful interrupters and GFCI humble the outlet, not the breakers. So if you are not up with the education, with the technology, what was changing, you're going to stay behind. A lot of inspectors use drones, telescopic poles, infrared cameras. It's a lot for the inspector to grasp just to be competitive. Okay, so ask the questions. Okay. Have you ever asked an inspector for his E&O insurance?
Yeah, can you text me the code?
What's the minimum insurance that the state of Texas requires for an inspector? Give me a number. What about 100,000? That's what I can go in business by myself and get a policy for $100,000 E&O insurance, and I'm good to go, according to the state of Texas. How many houses do you sell for 100,000? Not even a shack. So it's important. That's a big question, because if you are trusting this guy and he burns the house, what? Right? Some inspectors carry $1 million. It's some insurance companies that they tell the inspector, carry your $100 E&O, or if you go into new construction, we sell you the $1 million policy for the day of inspection only. So all kinds of things that goes behind the scenes that you guys don't really grasp, because you don't think about asking those questions. Probably what I just asked you, you never thought about. Hey, ask the question to your inspector. What's your E&O insurance policy? I just have a question. How much do you pay? Make sure that it's sufficient. If your inspector does commercial property, it has to be past $1 million at the very least. At the very least. Okay? So ask the questions. How long you've been in business does not equate to good or bad inspector. I have inspectors that been with us for 25 years, and I have inspectors that just came out of school and they are sharp and full of news, actual information. So experience matters in a lot of ways as well. So it has to be a fine balance, right? So ask the questions. Hey, how long you been in business? How long you have your licensing? Information on the inspection report must be accurate. Just not without emotion, just what it is and what it is only important. And yeah, it's like I was telling you, it's inspector companies that they give you a big 80 pages, you know, so be careful. Communication skills, responsive to the client needs. I have people calling me from 4 years ago that I did their inspections just to ask me, hey, do you remember this address? I'm just like, give me a hint, and hey, I'm thinking into adding a battery. Can I do this? Well, give me your address, let me pull the report and we talk. But you always have to be available. Real estate is 24 hours a day. It's not hiding, right? So it's a few things in here. More than anything, beware of the guys that they don't want people showing up to the inspection. That's not fun. You want the inspector to be personable. We are going to have from time to time the client that is going to say, I want to be there the whole time. It's okay with me. It's fine. You cannot say no to that. They're paying for the report. And this is his discovery period, right? So you can, or some inspectors that will tell you, I don't want anybody there until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No, we are here to serve the public, right? So let's keep it fun. I hope you see the inspection process a little different today than what you were looking at before. Let me give you time, ask any question you want. It's a good time to ask questions. Any questions?
Did you bring some of those cards for us to give out?
Yes, I will go to my truck and bring you some, absolutely.
So, Tony, so in the past, I know you have had those, trips that you take people to houses. You want to talk about it? Do you have one that you want?
Sure, if anybody has an empty house, just an empty house, we can go and put 3 inspectors in the house in different locations and have a whole class of the entire inspection process from beginning to end. We will take you from, like, if we were just getting there to the inspection and you just walk with us in different groups, and at the end we sit down and we discuss what we see, and we let one of our inspectors type the report in front of you so you can see how things work and the finished product. So if you're willing to do that, that's fantastic. We also have another class about efficiency. So it's going to be different slides of different things that we encounter. For example, a Federal Pacific panel, which are prohibited. So and then the question is it a mountain? Is it a big issue? Or is it a mount hill? It's a little issue. And then you guys discuss, and then we educate you of cost to replace it and why it should be replaced or not. And it's an educational thing. So anything you guys want to do, we're willing to help out.
Question. Do you have any comments about solar panels?
Solar panels are great for whoever wants the solar panel.
Inspections.
On the inspection process, we don't inspect the solar panels. And it's a divided camp on that. If you want to get the full benefit of the solar energy, you have to buy the battery. Without the battery, when you run out of power, then you're out. So if you have a blackout, then you are going to rely on whatever you have for the day, right? So if you have the battery, now you have power, but the misconception is what that power feeds is only going to feed your kitchen and your master bedroom and bedroom. That's it. Now let's think about an electric generator. The electrician connects the generator to your electrical panel, you lose light, you turn on the guy, and he powers the entire thing. The entire thing, everything.
Thank you.
So it's a very personal choice per se. Okay. Another question?
What areas do you service?
The whole DFW area. I mean, the whole thing, same day, the next day. I have 6 people who are 6 inspectors, and we have people in Rockwall, Waxahachie, Mansfield. We go everywhere. ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, and we do it, and we do everything. We're full function. BPG, we are 427 inspectors in the country. And within those inspector communities that we have, they have engineers and really knowledgeable people. So it's not, BPG is part of Fidelity National. Fidelity National is our parent company. So it's a big, it's not a little, and that makes us relax. Our new E&O insurance is $10 million, for example. So we don't have to worry about going to new construction commercial. We can do everywhere because we're well protected. And BPG has really high standards of education. So like Aaron cannot do commercial inspections until he gets certified. And then he has to have at least 20 ride-alongs in commercial inspections to let him do inspections on its own. That's how BPG works, because we want the inspector to be completely self-sufficient by the time of inspection and successful. Okay, so yeah. Any other question?
For new builds, like what time do you go for inspections? Usually new builds, you go for the new builds as well.
Yes, ma'am. We do the 4 phases of inspection. We do the foundation pour. So basically we go down there like 3-5 days before they put the concrete, and we go through that foundation site really carefully to make sure that the foundation is going to be the way it should be. Then we have the pre-drywall inspection. So about 4 days before drywall is put up, we go there and look at all the framing, electrical, plumbing, rough plumbing, all the duct system, and all the venting that goes through the roof. We look at the roof side, exterior, make sure that everything is sealed up. So when they put the brick and or the siding, that is no openings where you can lose energy. We do that. That's the second one. The third one is your final walkthrough. And on your final walkthrough, we're making sure that what the client is getting is what he's getting. So we're not getting, a faulty dishwasher that is not draining, or a lot of the times things that for the builder is not important for us is. So we want to make sure that and it's all about to turn up a good product. So the builders, they used to see us as the enemy, like, oh, here comes the inspector. Now they look at us like, hey man, please come, tell me what you see and send me the report quick, because I want to correct that too. Because now we're all on the same, like I said, the industry is finally changing to the educational process of it. And then the last one, and for me, probably one of the most important ones is the 11th month. And that's just because on the 11th month, we're gonna hit a builder with everything we found on that report to be corrected before the owner now, it's out of warranty. Because once that they're, if the warranty ends on June 10th, I swear that is 1 minute past midnight, it's over. I'm not taking it, I don't even know how you look like. That's how they act.
Can you estimate what I want to know, like how much would that cost them?
Well, we do it per inspection. So the first two, they are on 285 to 325. So the foundation pour and the framing. The last two, we take $50 out of each one if you did one of the previous ones of inspection. And the reason that we don't offer packages is because life changes. So if I have a guy tell me, okay, I want to do the 4 phases, so here is $1,500, just to give you an example. For all the phases, it's a year. A lot of things happen in a year. He might call me and said, you know what, I just sold my house. So he just paid $1,500 for something that he don't even use. So because we're on the business of being honest, we do it one at a time. And then we have a reminder for them like, hey, you want the inspection? Yes. And then we take some dollars of that inspection.
Excuse me, can you explain again? So how much is the first one and the second one? I didn't.
The foundation pour and the pre-drywall fluctuate between 285 to 320 or something like that.
$25.
325. 185 to 325. 285 to 325. 285 to 325. Yeah. It depends on the size. That's basically what it is. We go by square feet, that we don't go by bedrooms or structure or whatever. We go by square feet. That's why. And then the last two is just a regular inspection, because we're gonna look at everything like if it's an old or a new house. But we take dollars with the $50 off that. So we, like, giving something back to the buyer.
But in the thousands.
Oh, yes, yes.
Future.
Yes, more than anything, a lot of headaches. And a lot of times they sleep better knowing that there. And to be honest, 80% of the time, we're gonna have a lot of the similar findings, right? Like, I don't know, this little crack here, doors not opening and closing, windows that are really hard to operate. But more times than not, it's a lot of behavioral problems that the house have within those 11 months that are not observable. For example, somebody's cooking and the kitchen light out of the blue just goes out and then comes back on. I can see that when I'm inspecting, but they're gonna tell me, hey, I don't know what's up with this light, but this is what happens. I'll document that. Because it could be something big, right? It could be an electrical misconnection, could be something overheating, whatever. And we go through a lot of that. Lately, I don't know what's happening on the window industry. I'm looking in between the two panes of windows, there is scratch inside the glass. So they have to replace the whole window because it's like you buy a new car, you don't want a new car with a scratch window. You buy it? No. So it's the same with a new house. So we're going through something is going on the window industry. For lately, we've been witnessing a lot of scratched windows for some reason. So a lot of behavioral things happen during the first 11 months, and we document those things and we test them. Breakers popping, strange sounds, odors. And then from time to time, we do see some severe stuff like separation of framing members from the ridge boards. Stuff that is not observable for the homeowner, but that when we go into the attic, we can see there is a lot of movement in one side of the house. Or things that they forget, that the builder forget. And then it rained already a few times. Now we can see where water is coming through, stuff like that. So it is totally worth it. Up to right now, every single one of them have always paid off. Always. Yeah. Any other questions?
Just an observation. So for, let's say you start working with the clients and they'll go with the new build, but it has been built. One of the inventory, what I do with Tony is I'll make sure he comes before the 11 month is over. And he does that a lot for my clients,
Yeah.
a bunch of them. At that point, whatever you find, we're gonna report, they submit it to the builder, they will address all of that. In case we miss the, so he started that's right. So you can also do. I know you had a question. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, and it's a lot of, for example, get out that it can lose, and it just defects on the material itself that now it showed up because now people actually walk on it several times. Or deficiencies on the drainage system because now they wash clothes enough, they shower, they use the toilets. It's a lot of hidden stuff that on those first few months of life of that property is going to show up.
I have a question about this. Like some of the house new builder, I don't know, my client was complaining, they didn't buy it for that. I mean, is that a reason? I mean, the bathroom had, it was a new build, but it was for like investment property. It's like they have bathtub and it's not a tile. They have this straight thing. And they said there was a small line, it's not connected or whatever. It's fine. They went, I mean, is that damageable for the like water problem?
If I'm understanding what you're saying, the top has a vinyl insert.
Yes.
And then when you put those inserts, they have to like Legos, right? They have to fit just right.
Is a major.
Do you think all the walls in the house are straight?
No.
None of them are.
No, they are thinking like water can leak.
Yeah.
The buyer didn't buy because of those reasons. 2 houses they didn't buy.
Because of that.
They're only there.
And that's a very simple repair, to be honest with you. A lot of the times they make sure that it's nice and tight, and then they put some silicone all the way around it.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. No.
So they rejected 2 properties like just for this. It's a new build. So it should.
Like I said, people panic. So if they're not educating the public, if you're not telling him, look, this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna take it apart. They're gonna reset it. And now we're gonna make sure that they put silicone all the way around it, make sure that because the wall, a lot of the times that happens because the wall itself is not plumb. It's a little bit sideways or like curved in or curved out, so that vinyl is being pushed or sucked in or not level. And that's when that little line is not falling in place. Make sense? So a lot of the times they have to take all that out, fix the wall some, and then reset. And this time they're gonna silicone everything. The builder like to do that? No, it costs him money and time. It's not, new builds is not like back in the day when grandpa used to sit down there the whole day and watch the builder go up from beginning to end. Now it's all cruise, right? So the builder, you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna say to the shower tub installer, you messed up, go and fix it. So then they're gonna make an appointment and then here comes the crew just to do that specific. So in the report, you have 7 or 8 different types of issues. Those are 7 or 8 different types of crews. Believe it or not, sometimes it takes 4 or 5 months for all of that report to be corrected because everything has to align. Do you have to go to work? Are you gonna be home this day? Yes, well, make sure because the plumber is gonna take the toilet out and then the next day, here goes the one with the tile that is gonna replace the tile and then another appointment to put the toilet back. I mean, it's a big thing. So builders hate it. It costs them time, it costs them money. It's a lot of work. So, but it's necessary because that's the thing, you're buying a new product. Why would you have to suffer like that? I just don't understand that mentalities. Somewhere during the decades, we are losing that pride of being well done, you know? And we're experiencing that a lot with new construction. It's all about hurry up, hurry up. We need to close in 20 days, hurry up. Hurry, it's time, you know. Hey, what about we close 10 days later, but give me a good product, but I don't have to worry too much. So, my pleasure. You guys have ever any questions, call him, call me. We'll be happy to answer any questions. And I tell everyone, we're here all on the same boat, even if it's not our inspection, somebody else did it, but you don't understand what the heck, call us, we'll be happy to help, okay? Thank you for your time.
You give us options, who do we call?
It doesn't matter, and I also have another 4 inspectors that we have on the roster, and all of them are very well educated and versed in what they do. So no problems, okay? Thank you. I don't know how to turn this on.
Just one technical question. On that slide that you show us on the double wire going to the same.
Yes, sir.
They should be 2 different circles. So take
Yes.
1 wire and put it separate
Correct.
circle. That's the
Exactly.
right way to be.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly, just make sure that the thickness of the wire corresponds to them physically.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Around to 15.
Yes, sir. You're good. You got it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for
You've been
coming.
Great.
Thank you,
Aaron.
Yes, ma'am, thank you, nice meeting you.
Have a good rest of your day. Then maybe we can have you back for the second class.
Yeah, anytime you want to, just tell me a time and a date and we'll do it again.
Okay.
Okay, it's
Thank
good
you.
to see you, my
Good
friend.
to see you too.
Yeah, it was a
You
good
all gonna
turnout.
leave your business cards.
I will, and I'm also gonna
At the
leave,
front desk, and then she'll put it.
I'm gonna give you also a stack of the cars that he was talking about.
Okay,
So then so what you do, you take some of those and you just give them to your buyer or to your seller. And that's a little bit of a head
yeah,
start.
that'd be nice.
Yeah, and if we don't have enough, then just text me
Of course.
and I'll drop as many as you need.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Bye, bro. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, senor, you're ready to do it yourself next time?
Yeah.
All right, that's it. You are on it. I'm going to pull this out and try to destroy her stuff.
Was this your 20th ride along?
No, I've already done all that.
Next one you'll be ready.